we receive a lot of complaints that, ma'am, we could not complete the 100 marks of paper in the given duration of 3 hours. We knew the answer, but we could not write because we did not have time in our hand. If you are one of those students, this session is exclusively for you, because we are going to discuss the time management aspects of how we can attempt a 100 marks paper in the given duration of 3 hours plus the 15 minutes of reading time. If you don't know me, I am CS Swati Sharma, faculty at Ekcel Academy, where I teach the law subjects. In this session, I am going to exclusively deal with tips and tricks of how you can complete 100 marks of paper in the given duration of 3 hours and 15 minutes. We are going to understand mastering strategies of how you should have a writing practice as well as writing strategies. Speed is the key, because if you are a slow writer, it is actually difficult to attempt the 100 marks paper. You have to have good writing speed in order to complete the answer paper. And lastly, smart selection, smart choice. This is with respect to two aspects. First one is you should make the right decision of the optional questions that you are required to answer. That is choice. Question 2 or 2A, question 4 or 4A, question 6 or 6A. When choice is given, which question you are going to attempt, that is a smart move. That has to be a smart move. How you are going to select, that is important. And next important selection is the order of writing answers. Which question are you going to attempt first and which question you are going to keep it for later? That is smart selection. So we are going to focus on writing strategies, we are going to focus on speed, we are going to focus on smart selection and stress management. I have divided this entire session on 3 important topics. The first one being the key point of how you should use your 15 minutes of reading time in a correct way. If you want to complete your 100 marks of paper, these 15 minutes of reading time are crucial and critical. If you use the 15 minutes efficiently and effectively, your entire remaining 3 hours of writing time is going to be very smooth. But if you panic yourself in the given duration of 15 minutes of reading time just by reading the questions, you are going to have a tough time. So it is very important to keep yourself calm and cool while the reading of the question paper is taking place. This is the decision making time. They say it is the reading time, but I call this 15 minutes of reading time as the decision making time. You have to do a lot of work in this 15 minutes of time, which we are going to discuss. Next, writing strategy. You should have a writing strategy rightly planned even before you enter the examination hall. All this should be pre-decided. You do not have to sit in the 15 minutes of reading time and see what is to be done, how it is to be done. Half of your work with respect to time management can be completed before you even enter the examination hall. That is what I am going to teach you in today's session. And lastly, stress management. How you can reduce your stress and ensure that you complete the answer paper in the given duration. Let's begin our discussion of how you should utilize the 15 minutes of reading time that I call as the decision making time. First and foremost, I have said that you should scan the entire paper. Why do I say this? Now, for example, let's take the JIGL question paper. In the JIGL question paper, whether you see the June 2024 attempt, December 24 attempt or the December 23 attempt, there is a set pattern to the question paper. It's almost 99.99% same. That question 1A is going to have 5 questions of 2 marks each. Question 1B is going to have 4 questions, 2 marks, 2 questions, for 3 marks, 2 questions, amounting to 10 marks each. So there is a proper set pattern of the question paper for every subject that you should be seeing and preparing before much in advance. Now what you should do, you will have the pattern set in your head. when you go to the examination center and receive the question paper, the first thing that you should do is see whether it is matching the pattern that was there in the previous question papers. Because on the basis of previous question paper, I would have taught you how to do the time allocation. So if the pattern is exactly that of the previous attempts question papers, your time allocation work has been pre-done. Before you enter the examination hall, you have a time allocated for the question. You just have to replicate that. You don't even have to think. Only if there is a difference in the pattern, then maybe some time you have to take out for time management. But apart from that, this work of the pattern of the question paper should be seen at home, and time allocation according to that pattern should be done before the exam. Before you enter the examination hall, you should be ready. So what are we going to do in the first step is see whether the question paper is matching the pattern on the basis of which we have done the preparation. Check if the question paper is similar to the pattern of the previous question papers for which we have already prepared a time management schedule. Second is identifying the questions. This is the crucial part. This is the decision making aspect. What do you have to do? What is the decision that you have to make? First and foremost, you should make a choice of which of the optional questions you are going to attempt. Because in all the papers, there are two optional questions that are given. Question 2 or 2A, question 6 or 6A. Or in some questions, question 4 or 4A, question 6 or 6A. You will have some questions where you have to make a choice of which of the following questions you are going to attempt. So you have to first decide between which optional question you are going to attempt. Done? You have made that decision. Now you know how many questions you have to answer. You know the mandatory questions that you are going to answer. Now, on the basis of what questions you have selected and what are the mandatory questions, you have to segregate the questions into two categories. First one are those category of questions which are easy and direct, where you do not have a lot of thinking to do. It is simpler to answer. Please mark them with a tick as the questions are identifiable as known and easy. Next set of questions you are going to give some kind of mark, which are the tricky questions. Why are we marking this? We are marking this because on the basis of this, we are going to decide the order in which we are going to attempt the answer when our writing time starts. I told you two types of selections are very important. One is which question we want to answer, and second is in what order we are going to answer. It is very, very crucial to answer the easy questions and the things that you know first, because you are not going to use a lot of time to think. Once you finish writing all the answers that are easy and you know and it is quick, you will save a lot of time for the later and the tricky questions. If you start your answer paper by answering the tricky questions or the complicated questions, you are using your brain. You are losing your time. Later you will have questions that are easy to answer, but you did not have the time to answer them. So first finish off the easy ones, finish off whatever you know, keep the tricky and the complicated questions for the last. Keep the questions which are going to put you into the thinking mode later, because once you start thinking, your writing speed is going to reduce. So we don't want that to happen. First finish writing everything you know. Later you sit and think for the questions that you don't know. Okay, so this is the important factor. This is the crucial moment. Here is the breaking point, or you are going to excel in your paper. So this is very, very crucial. Please do this efficiently and effectively. Next, once you have identified what questions you want to write and in which order you are going to write, then strategize your attempt. That is nothing but deciding the order of attempt. Always start with the easiest and the strongest question. Means, according to you, what do you think is the question that you know the best? Give the best first. Whatever questions you know the answer to perfectly, you write those answers first. Keep the questions that you don't know towards the last. You should finish off whatever you know first and then write the tricky questions. Because most of the students try to attempt the questions according to the question paper itself according to the order in which the questions are posed. In that time, what happens is the student does not know the answer. He's thinking. He's wasting a lot of time. He's still not able to recall the answer. And the time is passing off. And towards the end, whatever questions are there, he knows the answer to those questions, but he is not able to write because he has lost a lot of time thinking in the examination center of what is the answer to this question. Don't fall in that category. You write all the answers to all the answers which you know perfectly, or you know the answers to, write them first. Keep the complicated ones, trickier ones, or the thing that you have to stress your mind to get the answer, keep that for the later point. Next, stay calm. Don't overthink the difficult questions. Now, sometimes what happens, as soon as we read the question paper, we think that we don't know this, we don't know this, we don't know this. You can identify that you know 10 questions and the remaining questions you don't know at all. At that moment itself, you get into panic that half of the questions I don't know, what will I write? Don't get into that panic mode. You know something, you know few questions, attempt that. Don't overthink that I don't know so many questions, how am I going to write, what am I going to do. Don't get into that stress mode. You read the question, what you know, you answer that first. Then you activate your brain for thinking about what questions you don't know the answer to. Because if you panic right at the beginning, even the answers that you know to, you will not be able to execute it properly. So whatever you know, you write that first and then activate your brain for the thinking activity of what is required to be done. That is the first thing that you should keep in mind. Don't overthink about the questions for which you don't know the answer. Focus on what you know the best. Like I told you, if you're going to put everything that you know best right at the beginning, all the thinking activity will be done on a later stage. You can then think and utilize your time for retrieving the answers from your memory. Take few deep breaths before actually starting the writing procedure. So this is how you should utilize the 15 minutes of reading time. This is the crucial moment. These 15 minutes are the deciding factor of how your paper is going to be, how you are going to attempt the answer, whether you will be able to finish it or you will not be able to finish it. So please use these 15 minutes wisely and effectively. Let's move to the second aspect, that is the writing strategy. What is writing strategy? I've divided the writing strategy into 4 ambits. First one is understanding the question paper pattern, practice, time allocation, and answering techniques. Let's begin with the first one, understanding the question paper pattern. This is similar to what I told you at the beginning of 15 minutes of reading time, that you should check whether the question paper is in sync with the previous year question papers. For that, you should know what is the previous year question paper pattern. That is what is the homework you should do before entering the examination center. This is something that you should do at least 10 or 15 days prior to the exam. What is it? Draw the question paper pattern for every subject. I have taken, for example, JIGL. We have JIGL question 1A, 2 marks questions, 5 questions. 2 marks, 2 questions, 3 marks, 2 questions. In question 2, we have 3 questions of 5 mark each. Question 3 has 3 questions of 5 mark each. Then you have an optional question, question 4 or 4A, in which 3 questions are there for 5 mark each. Then you have question 5A, B and C, that is 3 questions for 5 marks each. Then you have an optional question, question 6 or 6A, 4 questions for 5 marks each. This is the set pattern. If you see, right, December 23, June 24 and December 24. This is the same pattern that the institute has followed. So you know total questions that are there in the question paper are 32 questions. But do you have to answer all the 32 questions? No, because you are going to make a choice whether you are going to write 4 or 4A, whether you are going to write 6 or 6A. You are going to choose one of them, right? You are going to choose one of them. So ultimately, you only have to attempt 25 questions out of the 32 questions. Work made easier. Now, what is your work? What is the homework that you should do is first identify the pattern of every question paper. Then on the basis of the number of questions you should attempt and the number of marks that it carries, you have to do time allocation. for a 2-mark question, because we know how many 2-mark questions are there. 5, 6, 7. 7 2-mark questions are there. So for that 7 2 marks question, how much time I am going to allot out of these 3 hours? You should have a fixed time allocation. For a 5-mark question, maximum that you can spend is close to 5 or 6 minutes, not more than that. Right? So on the basis of number of questions and the marks that they carry, you should do time allocation and ensure that within 2 hours and 45 minutes, you should be able to complete all the 25 questions. This is the homework that you should do, identifying the question paper and doing the time allocation of how much time you are going to spend on every question. If possible, every sub-question as well. And in the examination center, you should track your time. So this is the first writing strategy, that you should know the pattern of the question paper and the time to be allocated for that question paper. This should be pre-decided before you enter the examination hall. Next, second one is practice. Now, in school, we used to write notes, we used to write exams, we used to write internals. We had the writing speed. But now it's been time since we passed college, since we passed school. So we have lost the habit of writing. Even when we are studying, we are only reading and studying. Most of the students don't write and practice. That is the problem, because you have lost the writing speed. If you want to attempt the full 100 marks of paper in the given duration of 3 hours, you should be able to write fastly and quickly while maintaining neatness of the paper and legible handwriting. So what you should practice is writing speed. On a daily basis, write anything. It need not be that you have to write an answer. You can write your diary. Anything that you want to write, you can write. But have the writing practice. Mock exam. Very, very important with respect to writing practice is a mock exam. If you have attempted one full 100 marks of paper before attempting the final exam, you will get to know what are the mistakes that you have done and how you can improve yourself in the final exam. If you are attempting the final exam as the first exam, you do not have an experience of writing the 3 hours paper, you don't know where you can go wrong. That is the first time you are doing it, so you have no experience. So it is better to experience a 100 marks paper through a mock exam. You will get to know what are the mistakes you have done. You can improvise that in the final exam. So do take up the mock exams in the last week of May, so that you can be prepared for the June exam. Reading and interpretation of question, very, very important. You should have this practice of reading questions. Just reading question is not enough. How you are interpreting the question is more significant, because on the basis of your interpretation, you are going to write the answer to the question. We have given exclusive mentorship on how you should understand the question and how you should strategize the answer. If you want those sessions, you can get in touch with us at 973-973-3400. We can give you access to those sessions. But here what you should understand is, just by reading the question or seeing the keywords in the question, you create a preconceived question in your mind. But that is not always the case. You have to read the question with patience and understand what is it that the examiner is asking me. What is the point of issue in this question? What are they trying to ask me? That is what you have to identify. Sometimes one reading is not enough to understand the question. It's okay if you have to read the same question twice or thrice to understand, but just reading it once and writing a wrong answer is not advisable. It's okay if you have to spend some time in reading the same question twice or thrice to give a right answer. Next, previous attempt question papers. You should mandatorily go through at least 5 previous question papers of every subject to know the kind and category of questions that the institute has been asking in the previous attempts. On the basis of this itself, you can develop your writing strategy. Only on the basis of this, you will be able to efficiently utilize the 3 hours of time. If you don't know the pattern, if you don't have the writing speed, if you have no experience of writing a 3 hours paper, if you don't know how to interpret a question, if you don't know how you should read a particular question, you are going to waste a lot of time in the examination center. If you want to avoid that, these are the things that you have to practice much in advance. You still have 15 days for exam. You can still start doing each one of these on a daily basis. Next is time allocation. This is what I was telling you. Carry your own watch, the most important thing. Sometimes in the examination center, clock will be there, but the clock might not be showing exact time, or the clock will not have the batteries. Some issue might be there. I'm not saying it is going to be there. So it is always to be on the safer side. Carry your own watch and keep a track of your time. You have already done the allocation of time on the basis of the question paper pattern. You know how much time you should be spending on each question. So you do the calculation according to that and see the time. Have I completed question? If, for example, I have decided that for the 5 questions of 2 marks each, I am going to keep a duration of total 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I am going to see at the end of question 1A, did I finish all the questions in the set time of 10 minutes or not? I have to validate myself that I am on track, that I am following the time management efficiently. So not only wearing the watch but also keeping a track of the time is very, very important. Time to be allocated for each question, like I told you while dealing with the question paper pattern, that on the basis of question paper pattern, you make a timetable chart. Time management chart. How many minutes I am going to give for question 1A, how many minutes I am going to give for question 1B, how many minutes for 2A, 2B, 2C. You should have a fixed time chart with you that you are going to follow in the examination center. Follow that and track your time in the examination center. Keep and save the last 10 minutes for answer paper review. That is why I told you that when you are doing the time allocation, do it for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Remaining 45 minutes, 5 minutes are going to go here and there. The remaining 10 minutes you should save for last paper review, for underlying whatever is necessary, for drawing lines, for seeing grammatical mistakes, if any, quick review of the entire answer paper that you have written. You should save the last 10 minutes for that. Once you follow this with respect to time allocation, time management, I am sure that you will be able to complete the 100 marks of paper in the given duration of time. Next is answering techniques. This also plays a crucial role in completing the paper in the given duration of 3 hours. Why? Because you should know where to start and where to stop. There are 2 kinds of questions that you are going to get. One question is that you know the answer completely. The topic you have studied really well and that topic has 10 subtopics. But they have asked you only about 2 subtopics. But you are so excited that you are writing more than what is required. You are wasting your time and giving extra information in the answer paper that is not even asked for. So what you should know is write to the point, answer to the point that has been asked in the question paper. Don't write in excess. You are excited, I know this question, let me write everything that I know, I'll get full marks. If you write extra, you're not going to get full marks. What they have asked, if you write that much only you're going to get. For writing extra, if the question is for 5 marks, they're not going to give you 6 marks for writing extra. So don't unnecessarily waste your time in writing extra or writing in excess of what is over and above required in the particular question. Second category of question is where you don't know the answer to and you're wasting your time in thinking and trying to recall what is the answer to this category of question. Yes, I agree that all the questions in the question paper you might not know. You will have certain questions for which you have to think, but keep the thinking work for the later. Finish off everything that you know first, keep the thinking part to the later, because you don't want to keep thinking and waste your time, and what you know that also you are not able to write. So finish off whatever you know first and then do the thinking work. But when you are writing whatever you know where to put a full stop, know where you should stop the content. Don't do overflowing of information in the answer paper. Don't write in excess. Okay, that is the first technique of writing answers. Limit your answers for those questions for which you know the answer perfectly. Next are basic things. Put the headings and subheadings, have a clarity to your answer paper. This is why, because if you are having this clarity in your mind, it is quicker, faster to complete the answer as well. Answer in points, avoid writing long paragraphs, highlight the key words, Structure your answer, have a proper introduction, content and then conclusion for specifically a 5-mark question. For a 2-mark question or a 3-mark question, it is not mandatory to give an introduction and conclusion. So don't waste your time in writing lengthy answers for a 2-mark or a 3-mark question. If they have asked whether it is possible or not, say yes or no and give a 1-line explanation of why it is justified or why it is not justified. You do not have to give introduction and conclusion for a 2-mark or a 3-mark question, not necessary. So limit your content according to what is the marks that has been allotted and what is the question that has been asked in the question paper. That is structure to your answer. Only for a 5-mark question, you please have a structured answer of introduction, content and conclusion. Again, introduction should be limited. Majority of your time should be going in writing the content of the answer and giving a valid conclusion. Lastly, quote section numbers and case laws wherever possible, highlighted as and when you can. So this is the answering technique that you should follow with respect to the writing strategies of efficiently using the time. Next. Coming to the last aspect is time management. First and foremost, the same thing that I am telling again is avoid writing in excess. Don't give more information in the answer paper. You know one question, okay, you are writing that so much that you will not have enough time to answer other questions. So answer to the point, answer for the question that has been asked, don't give any excess information. You know where to limit your answer, you know where you should put a full stop. Where and how much you should write is very, very important, and that you will get only with writing practice. Secondly, avoid peer pressure. Others are writing so much, what are they writing? Don't think about what the people around you are doing, how they are writing. Don't look at others, don't be distracted, don't take peer pressure. Write in your speed. You have your time allocated, you follow that. Others might be doing whatever, don't bother. You have a set pattern prepared, you have a set time prepared, you have a certain strategy that you have already made. You follow that irrespective of what your friends are doing in the room. Somebody has taken an additional sheet, you still have 10 more sheets in your answer paper. It's okay, maybe that person has a bigger handwriting, you have a small handwriting. Maybe he's struck out 2 pages because he's written a wrong answer and he's lost his sheets. Does not matter. What others are doing is absolutely irrelevant for you. Don't take peer pressure in the examination center. You just concentrate on your exam, your answer paper, your question paper. What others are doing is absolutely irrelevant for you. Don't be distracted by your friends in the examination center. Keep track of time, very, very important. I've told, see the pattern, do the time allocation. Even after doing the time allocation, if in the examination center you're not bothered about the time, you don't know how quickly the time passes, you have to keep a tap on your watch. Am I on track? Am I on track? Do I have to speed up if I want to complete? All these things you should do on spot. And speed up in case you're lacking behind because of one question, you should speed up in the other question. So keeping track of time is more crucial than the time allocation itself. So you should be able to allocate your time and keep a tab of your time in the examination center. Focus on what you know first. Avoid thinking about the answers that you don't know about. This is right from the beginning. The moment you get your answer question paper, don't panic if it is a difficult question paper. It's absolutely okay. Sometimes as soon as we read the question, we think that we don't know the answer at all to this question. But on multiple readings, on reading in once, twice, thrice, in the third time you think, oh, this is the concept that I know. So it is not always that what you have the first impression, that is only right. Maybe the question paper is easy, but on the face of it, it is looking difficult. So don't panic, don't stress out. Even if you don't know the question, give a 1 or 2 attempt of reading. You might think that it is an easy paper. You might know the answer to that question. So don't have a preconceived notion immediately after 10 seconds or 1 minute of getting a question paper that I won't be able to pass in this paper. It is so difficult. Plus, this is a paper in which the passing percentage is low. Don't create or have these preconceived notions in your mind. Read the question paper with calmness and write. Even if you don't know the answer, it's absolutely okay. You don't have to panic. Out of the 32 questions or 25 questions that you have to attempt, at least 10 questions you will be knowing. Attempt those first. Then we'll think of what we don't know. So keep yourself calm and cool, because even if you stress what is going to happen, the answers that you know, even that you're going to forget. So what is the most suitable thing is to have a positive attitude. In the examination center, if you stress out or if you panic, what is going to happen? Will they allow you to go back, read and come? The answer is no. You cannot change anything now once you have sat on your seat. So it is better to have a positive outlook rather than having a negative outlook. What is the positive outlook? How much I know, I am going to write that to the best of my ability, irrespective of how is the question paper. Negative outlook is right from the moment you get the question paper, you are in a panic mode. I don't know what I'll do, I don't know what I'll do. In that, you are going to lose the time. You are going to lose even the answers that you know. So avoid, because there is no possibility of going back. Once you have sat in the examination hall, only after writing you have to come out. So why panic? Why stress? Use it in a positive way of, let me stay calm, let me stay peaceful. How much I know, I will write and come. I will put my best. If you are calm, if you are stable, if you are peaceful, your brain will also be active in rendering and sending across the answers to your brain, to your memory, that you know, it will not take a lot of stress to recall the answers. If you panic, definitely you will not be able to recall what is the answer. So as much as possible, don't stress out yourself, don't be in the panic mode. By reading the question paper, don't stress out. You can be calm and composed even when you don't know the answer to a particular question. The simple strategy you should follow is, I am going to write the answers that I know the best first. I'm going to answer all the questions to which I know the answer, and then I'm going to think about what I'm going to write for those questions which I don't know, or which are tricky, or which are complicated. If you follow this approach, you are using the time in the most efficient manner to quickly finish off all the questions that you know, and then spending the rest of the time in thinking of what is the answer that you have to write. Every mark counts, so please don't leave any question unattended. Even if you get partial marks, even if you are able to write 2-3 points about a particular question which are right, you will be allotted partial marks. So every mark counts, because you know that if you want to pass the exam, you don't only have to pass individual subjects, but you should also get an aggregate of 50% in all the papers. So every mark counts, because many students pass in individual subjects, but they lose out on the aggregate. So at that moment they think, oh, wish I would have attempted for more marks. If you attempt for more marks, higher the probability of you scoring, right? So if you are attempting only for 70 marks, you might score somewhere around 40-50. If you are attempting for 100 marks, you might score around 60-70. So it is better for you if you attempt for full 100 marks, you have a higher chance of scoring better, and even partial marks will be given. Even if the answer is not complete, answer is not 100% correct, but a few points are right, marks will be allotted. So don't leave any question unattended. Attempt for full 100 marks, follow the time management techniques, do the time allocation and question paper pattern preparation much before getting into the examination center. Be pre-prepared. Before going to the examination hall, 50-60% of your work should be completed. The remaining thing you should do in the 15 minutes of reading time. Your entire 100% of preparation of how you're going to attempt the answer question paper should be done once the 15 minutes of reading time is over. Once the writing time starts, you should not waste your time. You should only think about the answers and write it off. Follow these tips and tricks. You will be definitely able to write for full 100 marks in the given duration of 3 hours, and you can thank me later. All the best for your exams. Do well, and do let us know if these tips have helped you.